The Nature of Predators, Book 2, Memory Transcription, Subject, Tassie, by some Alien Liaison. Date, Standardized Human Time, December 25th, 2160. It felt strange to utilize a side swim again, rather than walking around. Water was very much tied to Bison's relaxation, as evidenced by the flotation tank salons that passed by on every street corner. Sitting at home, watching the live stream broadcasts had proven unconducive to my recovery. The screens were all too happy to plaster the darkness of the world and the aliens in front of my face. The two were often intertwined, as evidenced by the group of Zeridian and human doctors working for charities, tending to victims on both sides in the war zones. Even in a story as grisly as that, there were helpers. There were good people in the stars. I just had to remember how to be one of them. Maybe the irony was considering why aliens had been so captivating. It was about us more than them. How much I wanted to escape the world I'd come running back to. If Runner was a flawed planet that I'd hoped could change with the waggle of a flipper. Yet reality wasn't so simple. I bore some personal responsibility for losing sight of what mattered. My work became more important than my family. Almost like scanning the skies was my religion rather than the teachings of hers. I remember listening to the verse reading from the pulpit, with one that had sat framed on my FAI desk. The mysteries of the heavens are not as strange yet as the mysteries of the soul. My work belongings had been sent to my apartment in a box, and I'd stared at the plaque for quite a while. The Tassie that sat in an office all day died with first contact, but maybe her optimism could live on. All of the politics and exploration in the world wasn't going to make me feel whole, when what I truly wanted was to form a meaningful connection with someone else. I hadn't spoken to my co-workers at the Fishing for an Alien Intelligence in months. Not one of them. That was why I was heading to the Fish Guts bar where we used to go and drink on special occasions, hoping to run into a familiar face. I wondered how they felt about everything that had played out. Were they excited over the ubiquity of extraterrestrials? Sifkits and Varsal both living on our planet. That makes them accessible enough to the public, even without a spaceship to hop on. What's the idea of letting those long ears squat in our backyard? I heard a Bison voice ask outside the bar, which gave me pause. I've seen a couple walking down the streets and made sure to take a long way around. For all we know, they're dusting the air with their cure. This conversation partner bobbed her flippers. It's no secret what they do to meat-eaters. Rest of the galaxy had to write the idea letting them flounder. I mean, what the feck is our government doing? Moving every alien right on in. I don't trust them, and I don't see why we're paying for them to get free housing. I don't see Glassman ponying up for this. Never see a fossil working long days and nights, missing their fecking kids for a couple pence. Have you ever actually spoken to a fossil? The words spilled out of my mouth before I could stop myself. They're displaced civilians who were locked in their own planet for all of the shit that you just mentioned, which they had nothing to do with. The male Ritala rounded on me, putting his beak inches from my face. What kind of alien sympathizing scum do we have here? She's one of them FIA bastards, rode with that bald animal in the car. She brought them here, the other accused. The door swung over, and I did recognize a Ritala named Classo came to stand protectively in front of me. Is there a problem? Dr. Tassie did not bring the aliens here. They contacted us. As I remember it, the Lassian military came to our offices, shot the place down, and dragged her there. Man, I do sympathize with the aliens. People that come from space are still people, I spat. You just want a scapegoat, someone to blame and hate for all of your problems. Tassie, get inside. Classo pulled me backwards into the safety of the pub. He stared down at the two strutting bisons for a moment. Ignorant fools! Why don't you pick on someone your own size next time? The former FAI staffer slammed the door shut in their faces, and I ducked my head with gratitude. He herded me over to a stall adjacent to his by the bar, resuming the sipping from his glass. Classo had been a specialist in identifying astronomical phenomena, often able to rule out strange signals as the result of pulsars, magnetars, and other celestial bodies. There was talk around the office that he was a bit of a neuroholic, but he was typically kind and thoughtful at work. The Ritala lifted a flipper to flag down the bartender before ordering a round for each of us. I held the glass in my grasp with uncertainty, always having been too straight-laced for a day drinking. Reminding myself that I was here to relax the distressed, I chugged the stringy fluids. The oil taste lingered in my mouth, as the neurotoxin was absorbed into my bloodstream. There was a fish called the memmelfin of Irana, whose flesh was supposed to be poisonous. In small doses, however, it could have psychological effects on bison. The alien races would not be able to consume it, since it could have lethal consequences. I'd heard of at least one instance of humans having to be forcefully denied access to it multiple times, as they insisted it would be fine. Perhaps they believed it was a carnivore equivalent of alcohol, and while that was true socially, it was a rather different chemical compound. The primates shouldn't be too keen to order death in a bottle. Leaning back, I glanced up at the TV screen and the picture of an orange ocean. It was then I noticed the fluffy white mammals on a boat and tilted my head in curiosity. Classo followed my gaze, snickering. "Bringing the Sifkits here was ingenious, Tassie. Turns out that they have a taste for all of that algae that's gotten us into a doom cycle," the Rotella remarked. "An undo button on the insurmountable problem. There's already been a noticeable decrease in the waters nearest Nelman." I gawked at the screen. "You're kidding me. In that case, I hope the Tinsass issue won't be sorted out so fast. I'm almost willing to turn a blind eye to the fact that they knew who was behind the Starlight incident." "They what?" "Oh, that's, not going to make that duo out there like the fossil anymore. It's probably for the best that I don't elaborate." I could already feel some airiness in my skull, as a complete lightweight. I had to push the conversation off of me before I started spitting classified information and inflammatory tales, like how the humans tried to blackmail me. "How's life been treating you post-first contact?" "Well, I don't get FAI paycheck anymore. A lot of the staff moved to either running scientific studies on aliens or working for the diplomatic corps that has hundreds of these guys to deal with. Many won't talk to us directly, but I hear you've been changing that." "You flatter me, Calasso. I don't think I had that much to do with it. You said a lot of the staff. I asked about you. Are you chasing a Sifkit down a side swim with a lab needle?" Classo chuckled. "My specialty is listening to radio signals and matching them up with stars, not lifeguard duty on Nelman, which is a thing too. There's been several drowning incidents from the algae craze, which is why they've been given boats, and still drown hanging over them, not the brightest bulbs. The Federation dumbed them down on purpose, and it sounds like they were once just like us. I got to read a bit of their old theatre. It was highbrow, very articulate and polished with ideas, sane worldviews. I want to throw their ambassador out an airlock, but I do think their species could improve. If we help him in some small way, and you're dodging my question about your job." The Rotella lifted his glass, downing it quickly and signaling for another. "My knowledge is useless now. I have a job as a bouncer here now, clearly. I'm doing it so well." "Classo, are you sure it's a good idea to be, around Memphiland all the time? I have connections. I could get you a job super far away from here, exciting as could be. Maybe talk to some observatory on Earth that'll take the first by some astronomer." "Not all of us are ready to pack up and leave Irana at a moment's notice. I'm fine. But thanks for the offer, Tassie. If I really wanted to, Hurst knows they're recruiting half the damn planet, qualified or not, to deal with the alien diplomacy shit. Everyone who wanted to landed on their feet." I studied him with concern, shooting the bartender a look before they could bring the next round. "Change is hard, Classo. I know you're a smart guy, and I know the aliens are, more complicated than we expected. I've come home to take care of myself because I neglected my personal life, chasing what I thought I had to do. We never talked enough for me to know your story, but you shouldn't be holding yourself together with tape and glue either." "You can't save everyone." "I'm gone, Tassie. You think they want a perpetually intoxicated scientist whose obsolete skills running your point on diplomacy, especially with how fucked it all is. I just make everything worse. You're doing good. All of us from FAI are proud of you." "Don't say that. There's nothing to be proud of. I achieved absolutely nothing." "No. You just didn't do everything you hoped for. The small victories add up, and then you turn them into big ones. I'll take it you unraveled the bit about, if I understood it, the Sifkits knowing that the fossil attacked Irana." "It's more complicated than that." "Exactly. And you got the answers. Crap. That could wrap up the war here in Irana, since they all want to point their guns at the ones who attacked us. Peace at home again. A common enemy that isn't a scapegoat might do us some good. Remind us that we aren't that different. I already heard that there were talks about a treaty going down. Ever since Alpha, something good came of that." I recoiled. "An entire planet wiped out is not a positive thing, Classo. It's like I said about the fossil. We should care. They were people." "That's not what I meant. I just meant even the worst places, there's a reason for hope. If I was up with those SC delegates, I'd get wrapped up in all the large-scale catastrophes and world-ending shit, too. There's nothing you did or could have done with that. You found a little wiggle room to work, and that's all we can ask. I'm tired. There's only so much catastrophes one person can watch. So don't watch. Just put your feet up, relax, and stop trying to stop the bartender from handing me my way out. I shot Classo a stern look. I've resigned myself to making things better in small ways. One of those is not letting you rack up any more organ damage for today. A lot of some areas of expertise are obsolete or overshadowed now. But we have to reinvent ourselves, catch up and learn, take control of our future. Start over completely from scratch, right? That's totally plausible. You at least want to talk to some humans. You never got the chance. Let me reach out and see if there's any observatories that would take you. No one's going to make you commit and leave a runner, but it might be a good thing for you. If you insist. A free vacation to an alien planet is too good to pass up, Classo replied. Besides, I was always jealous that you were the only one who got to chat up that curly-haired nerd. He and I are the same person, practically. I found myself thinking about why Dustin had never ratted out Jones to the UN and what Maya would do about it. Dustin is a good guy. He'll have fun with humans, long as they show their nice side. Don't tempt me. Now I have to bring out the mean streak. It's an irresistible challenge. Be careful of what you wish for, Classo. Just take the cushy observatory drop and let them smile with innocence. Trust me. Engaging with a bison who wasn't Nelt or a Zolk and had more grounded concerns than the developments of the war or an alien alliance had been a relief. I felt like I might have been able to help my old colleague find his footing after first contact had left him rudderless. There were flashes of ways that I could make a difference, even if the improvements to my surroundings were microscopic. It was assuring to know that my passionate cohorts at the FAI looked up to the work I'd been doing, in spite of the tumultuous emotions I shouldered about how impossible it was. After a few days on a rudder, I was ready to give the humans and the Sapien Coalition a second chance. My people were looking up to me to represent the average bison and to pave the path for a future where we could thrive. End of chapter. I'd quickly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Casper Arnholtz, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.